ghosts and goblins. This is why I don't work with animals. Welcome to the final episode of Cringe Poetry Halloween edition. Okay, bye. I hope everyone had a very safe and spooky weekend before Halloween. In case you hadn't picked up on it yet, Halloween is one of my favorite times of year. And I'm super happy I got the chance to do a few Halloween editions of Cringe Poetry. This week, for the grand finale of our Cringe Poetry Halloween edition, I have 2 Halloween-themed poems for you. That's right, I wrote a Halloween-themed cringe poem, and I'm gonna subject you to it. You're welcome. This week's poem... Disclaimer. There are moments in this poem that sound less than PG. I assure you, it was nothing non-PG that inspired this poem. Just because I know my mom watches these videos. Unlike so many other poems that I've written, this one I do remember the inspiration for. It was a piece of art. It was a picture. That was the inspiration. So Mom, if you're watching this, don't be weirded out. It was just art. And art is always innocent. This poem is called The Vampire. His eyes are red, and they stare at me with a conviction and a lustful craving. They stare into my soul and penetrate my heart, turning any blood in me cold and slow in defense of his thirst. His long black hair cuts like daggers across his white face. His face chiseled with hammer and spike of sin and hunger. His thin cheeks draw up as he smiles, a hungry smile, dying to mask the pain he wants me to feel, the pain he's dying to give me. A throbbing blue vein in my neck grows with arousal, and the red daggers in his eyes pierce right through it. All of a sudden, his cheeks grow pinker as mine grow dead, and his eyes, redder than before, move on to the next victim as he licks my blood from his lips. Again, disclaimer, inspired by a work of art, not by anything else. My family watches these videos. What am I doing with my life? If anyone in my family did watch this video, I promise there's very few poems in this book that are that graphic. So let's talk about The Vampire. The work of art that this is based on is quite literally just a picture of a vampire. So honestly, there's not a lot of metaphor happening here. Literally just a poem about a vampire. Good one for Halloween though, yeah? Sorry if I've traumatized anybody. What work of art is it that inspired this poem, you ask? I wish you hadn't. Is it a classic painting by one of the greats? Is it a modern work of art? Is it a piece of digital art that is a metaphor for capitalism or social media or something else that could be considered vampiric? Nope, it was none of those things. So what was it then? It was a Magic the Gathering card. If you don't play Magic the Gathering and you have no idea what I'm talking about, then maybe just go back to thinking that this poem was based on some grand work of art that contained within it commentary about our society. And for those of you who play Magic the Gathering and know exactly what I'm talking about, then I guess pause for laughter. Seriously though, sometimes inspiration comes from weird places, especially when you're 18 years old and dating a major nerd. He is my favorite nerd though, So, just for a double hitter, you've got the content of the poem, which is not something I'm going to dive back into in case somebody in my family is watching this right now. We'll just leave the poem as is. But for a double whammy, the inspiration behind this cringe poem is a card from Magic the Gathering. Whew. I just really went for it this week, you guys. Put a girl in red lipstick on a school night and God knows what'll happen. I'll just leave that. Moving on. This week's published poem is called Halloween 1914 by Winifred M. let's. Why do you wait at your door, woman, alone in the night? I'm waiting for one who will come, stranger, to show him the light. He will see me afar on the road and be glad at the sight. Have you no fear in your heart, woman, to stand there alone? There is comfort for you and kindly content beside the hearthstone. But, she answered, no rest can I have till I welcome my own. Is it far he must travel tonight, this man of your heart? Strange lands that I know not and pitiless seas have kept us apart. And he travels this night to his home without guide, without chart. And has he companions to cheer him? Aye, many, she said. The candles are lighted, the hearthstones are swept, the fires glow red. We shall welcome them out of the night, our homecoming dead. What strikes me most about this poem is part of the title, the inclusion of the year 1914, World War I. I shall welcome them out of the night, our homecoming dead. God, war sucks, doesn't it? It's hard to say I enjoyed it because it's really quite sad, but I really enjoyed the kind of conversational nature of it. It really created a picture of this woman waiting at her door, staring out into the night, and a stranger coming upon her and asking, why do you stand at your door? What are you waiting for? The conversational nature is something that I haven't seen in a lot of poems. That's why it stuck out to me. So I hope you enjoyed. Just as information to anyone who's been following my Halloween theme this month, aside from the first poem that I read, which came from this book of poetry by Edgar Allan Poe, the rest of the poems that I read this month, and probably a number of poems that I'm going to read in the future, actually came from two online resources, which is poets.org and the Poetry Foundation. For anyone who's interested in those resources, I'll put the links in the description box down below so that you can have access and do your own perusing. I haven't explored either of them to their absolute fullest. Both sites have poems of the day that you can go to the site and read a new poem every day. Or, if you're feeling really adventurous, you can actually sign up for the poem of the day so that you get a new poem in your inbox every day. And I know the Poetry Foundation has a poem a day that you can actually listen to if you're more of an auditory person. Highly recommend. So I think that's it for this week's edition of Cringe Poetry and the last episode of our Halloween theme, which means, unfortunately, we're going to have to say farewell to Wilbur for another year. He doesn't look too upset about it, so... I hope all of you have an amazing Halloween, filled with just the right level of spooks and scares and sweet treats as well. Let's be honest, that's everyone's favorite part. So since this is our last episode of our Halloween theme, who knows what next week is going to bring? One thing it'll most definitely bring is bad poetry, because that is what you're here for. I have to at least deliver on that. As always, be sure to do all the things. Give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, comment down below, and as always and forever, thank you so much everybody for watching. Bye. What? You don't think I wore this all day, do you? I literally put this red lipstick on just for you. It did look great though, didn't it?